Good morning, I'm up to episode 12 in my decade series featuring one station per decade. Tube stations, yes. On the tube map, also yes, because as per your suggestions in the last episode where I said no tube stations were built in the 1980s, what should I do? Everybody chimed in and said thank you, go and do the DLR, because the DLR here, where I'm starting at Tower Gateway, opened in 1987. So this episode is basically just a celebration of all things DLR built in the decade of the 1980s. The DLR network today looks like this because it's been expanded over time. But if you go right back to the 80s, August 1987, when it first opened for passengers, there were 16 stations on the line and 2 routes, Island Gardens to Tower Gateway and another branch to Stratford. Actually, the original Island Gardens station was elevated much like Tower Gateway is, complete with a matching dome structure at its entrance. And much of the DLR is elevated because it was built on disused railway viaducts, and the location of Tower Gateway Station today is actually on the site of the former Miniries railway station. And if you've used this station, you've probably used the escalator many times, but next time, why not go down to the right, down this little sneaky passageway, and use the lift that's there? It feels a little bit secretive and tucked away. Tower Gateway even has a shop. No, not this one, that's now closed, but this one, that is a DLR information centre that doubles up as a shop. Actually, it's more like a mini transport museum shop selling mugs and maquette cushions. Come along and pay a visit during its opening hours. Now then, to the platforms, and the canopies above the platforms are, I believe, original and straight out of the 1980s. But the platform configuration is not how it used to be. When it opened in 1987, Tower Gateway used to have 2 tracks with a narrow island platform down the middle. But in the 2000s, this was changed and it was reduced down to being a single track with 2 platforms either side, one to enter the train and one to exit. And here's a little fun discovery I made. The old track, the second track, you can still see has been truncated with buffers. If you walk along this section of the platform and then peer over the end, there it is, down that's the normal running track. Then over here, this is the second running track, which has now got these buffers, and even a little platform there and a walkway down where staff can still access if a train should ever park up in that area. So I recently made a video about tube stations where tube trains arrive and doors open on both sides. The same happens here, I think, we're about to see, at the DLR, because this side is the side which you're meant to get on the train at, and the other side is where you get out at. So I'm just going to point the camera at the doors, and I'm going to see if we have both doors at the same time moment, or does one set of doors open and then another. Let's find out. That is not what I was expecting. The signs definitely say board the train on platform 2, the other side, and leave the train on this side, platform 1, so passengers get off here. But it seems that the buttons lit up and were active on both sides, so you could actually press the button and get off on either side, and then do what I just did, that is press the button on one side, walk through, press the button on the other side, and you clearly have a moment where you can walk through the train because the doors are open on both sides. Good to know. The platforms are slightly longer than the length of the current trains though, so another thing which you can do here is walk all the way down to the end, beyond the canopies, and here in the daylight it's an excellent vantage point of the C2C trains which rumble in and out of Fenchurch Street alongside. And it's also at this end that there's another exit to the station, a little bit secret. Head this way, go down some steps, and that brings you out onto this entrance and exit on Mantle Street. Okay, it might not be an actual secret, but it's handy to know about and might save you a minute or two of time if you didn't know that it was here. And my favourite thing to do here always used to be to look at this old accumulator tower from the old railway that still had in broad white painted letters the name of the London, Midland and Scottish Railway on it. But you can only now see that on previous years of Google Street View, as recent developments mean that it's now been demolished. Now on the tube map, Tower Gateway is shown as a dotted line connection to Tower Hill, and I've really got to mention this, and that's that it's always bugged me that on this official version it's always shown that the bank branch is to the north of Tower Gateway, whereas in reality it's the Tower Gateway branch that is to the north and the bank branch dips down south. So in a world where the tube map was geographically accurate, might it look like this? Yeah, let me know what you think. And also, if you dig around online, you can find old plans that do actually suggest that in the future, one day, Tower Gateway Station might be decommissioned and there'll be a new subsurface interchange for Tower Hill Station instead. And this would allow an increase of trains on the bank branch from 23 trains per hour to 30 trains per hour. Anyway, make that walking connection to Tower Hill Tube from Tower Gateway, and astonishingly, there's a piece of Londinium city wall still here, right here, built by the Romans in around 200 AD. Again, stop to take a proper look next time you're here if you've only ever just walked past before. And then, also, instead of going into the tube station, find the steps that take you on top of the station, and here you'll find this giant sundial, and around the edge of it is key dates in London's history, and there's 2 London Underground mentioned here. One for 1863 when the Met opened, and one for 1890 when the first deep level City and South London tube railway opened. But I'm still after some more 1980s DLR nostalgia, and that means that I'm going for a ride for a few stops to some other nearby DLR stations. So my favourite for absolute 1980s on the DLR, look at this canopy. All Saints, Devon's Road, here, Bowchurch. Look, yeah, you've got the original blue canopies, and also you've got like the blue fence here, and the red, the blue and red, those 3 stations. It's more noticeable when you come through Langdon Road, also on this branch, which was a later addition, a new build, that's not like that, so the contrast is stark. But here, at Bowchurch, so much blue and red. Yes, the blue and red were very much the predominant colours in the original DLR logo, along with this distinctive font that was used called Rockwell. And the most delightful point that you can still find evidence of this on the DLR network is at Bow Church Station, where there's this, a staff-only telephone. We're not sure if it's still in use or not, but it looks brilliant, and that's on the southbound platform. You can see this original DLR font too, also at Canary Wharf Station at the southern end of its platforms, where the fire exit signs are, using that DLR's original 1980s distinctive font. Oh, and at Canary Wharf, you can also walk through the trains too, as the doors here also open on both sides. And that, I think, covers everything that I can think of DLR-wise in this nostalgia fest of all things 1980s. So it was a trip back to Tower Gateway, front seat of course, on one of the trains that does have one of these fun control panel stickers on. I'm not sure if the new trains have those, by the way. And I was back to where I started, at Tower Gateway. And so that is the 1980s, a very 1980s looking DLR there for this decade. Thanks for watching this video, plenty more to come. We are back on the tube, on the Jubilee line in the next video when we do decades from the 1990s. Thanks for watching, see you next time.